6 seconds. That's how long you have before your resume gets trashed. People love to say it's just bad luck when they're not getting interviews, or they blame the market, the competition, AI, timing, anything. I've heard it all during my time at Facebook, where I supported a global team as a senior HR exec to thousands of people for almost 6 years. But after coaching thousands of job seekers, I can tell you this: most people aren't underqualified, they're simply invisible. And that's because they're leaking value during the hiring process in the places that matter most. Hi, I'm Mizes. I'm a career strategist and former Facebook exec who's helped thousands of professionals through career strategy. And today I'm going to show you how to flip the script and join the top 1% of applicants who always get noticed. Before I dive in, what's the worst mistake that you've seen someone make when applying for a job? Drop it in the comments and let's see who's got the best story. Everybody knows that hiring managers only skim your resume. They don't read it. But nobody's told you why they don't read it. You think that they're just too busy or have too many applications to review. But a hiring manager only needs 6 seconds to determine if you're good or not. 6 seconds is all it takes, and it's proven by eye tracking studies conducted by The Ladders, which is a popular site for 6-figure positions. The study showed that recruiters decide whether to keep reading or toss your application in the time that it takes to read just this sentence. That's all the attention that you get. I know this to be true because I did it too. I've reviewed thousands of applications and I've tossed aside most of them because those candidates make this one mistake. They don't make their value immediately obvious. Most candidates bury the lead. They open with weak summaries, forgettable job titles, and dense walls of text that look like a boring novel than a pitch. Even worse, they talk about what they did, but not what they did for the business or for their team. And as a result, they're not just underselling themselves, they're making it hard to get buy-in. In comparison, we've noticed the highest performers have a pattern of placing their value right at the front. So if you don't do this, hiring managers don't think that you're an A player and you don't get a second chance. This is exactly why your resume has one job: to make your value obvious in seconds so that they give you a call. Not buried, not implied, obvious. The top third of your resume is make or break. And that's where every hiring manager looks first. And if they don't see something compelling right away, they're gonna move on. So what makes them stay? Real, tangible, measurable outcomes. You must communicate your value in your resume from the very first line. Your resume should instantly answer, how did the company benefit because of hiring you? The number one way to do this is to reframe your experience to impact for the company that you want to work with. So don't just say what you did, show what you changed because you were there. Let me show you what this actually looks like. Instead of saying, managed a team of 5 sales reps, say, led team to exceed quarterly targets by 28%, generating 1.2 million in new revenue within 6 months. Instead of handled client onboarding, you should say, cut churn rate by 30% by overhauling onboarding and personalizing client success workflows. Instead of organized team offsites, say, boosted team engagement scores by 20% through strategically designed offsites that aligned with quarterly goals. That's what communicates value. And it's what most candidates leave out, because they're writing resumes like a timeline, just a record of employment, but that's not what gets interviews. Your resume should act like a loud and impossible to ignore signal, and it should say, here's the value that I bring and here's the proof. Shift from duty-based language to results-based language, and you're gonna get more callbacks. Now, if your value is clear, then congratulations, you're ahead of most people. And getting a hiring manager to actually stop and read your resume is already a win. 99% of candidates fail to do that. But it doesn't mean that you're gonna get hired. I still toss resumes like that all the time because they're making a second mistake that's just as bad. 70% of resumes get rejected in under 10 seconds, not because of typos or gaps, but because they read like a job description. They're predictable and they're packed with the same lifeless jargon. It's like putting a product on a shelf with no packaging, no pitch, and no story, just kind of sitting there. And that's because most resumes read like a personal history lesson. Titles, timelines, responsibilities. The mistake that most people make is that they confuse information with persuasion, and that's where most resumes quietly die. Responsible for, managed, oversaw. Those phrases don't communicate leadership or growth. They just tell the recruiter, I followed instructions. And most companies don't care about that. But it's quite simple to rewrite the rest of your resume to sound much more persuasive. So instead of responsible for improving internal reporting, you should try reduce reporting time by 40% by automating weekly dashboards in Looker. And instead of managed social media campaigns, try generated 125% increase in engagement and added 18,000 new followers in 3 months through a targeted short form content. Hiring managers already assume that you can do the job. What they want to see is what improved, what grew, and what got faster, what got cheaper or more profitable. The lesson here is that good resumes tell what you did, Great resumes show the outcomes of what you did. What happened after you did your job successfully? That's what you want to write about in your resume. So now you've built the kind of resume that gets callbacks. It's persuasive, it's outcome driven, and finally doing justice to your experience. But even with a perfect resume, you can still lose the job even before you get to apply. Because before a hiring manager even looks at that stack of resumes or seriously considers them, they're going to Google you. And what shows up before your portfolio, your resume, or your personal site? Your LinkedIn profile. In fact, according to JobScan, 94% of recruiters use LinkedIn to vet potential candidates, and 87% use LinkedIn specifically to find candidates for jobs. And that means opportunities are being handed out before applications even open. If your profile isn't optimized, you're not even in the room. But most people treat it like a placeholder, a digital resume with no edge, no brand, and no hook. And that's why, even if you're perfect on paper, recruiters are still going to scroll past you. So even if you're the perfect candidate, they scroll right past you because nothing grabs them. And that's why you need to rebrand your LinkedIn like your next job depends on it, because it does. While optimizing your LinkedIn profile, I want you to focus on your profile picture, your headline, and your about section. Your headline should read like a billboard, not a job title. So program manager tells me nothing. But if you want to give someone a reason to connect, you can say program manager led $10 million initiatives in tech. Expert in cross-functional leadership and scaled growth. You can try these formats for your LinkedIn title: job title, key results, specialty, or domain. So example, product manager, launched 3 SaaS products to 1 million plus ARR, expert in agile and go-to-market strategy, helping target audience achieve tangible outcome through your method or skill. So example, helping e-commerce brands 2x conversion rates through data-driven CRO and UX design. From industry to transformation, years of experience driving impact. Here's an example. From hospitality to tech, 8+ years creating award-winning customer experience programs. And your about section should tell your transformation story. It shouldn't be a laundry list of roles, but a narrative arc. Where you've been, what you've done, and how you solve problems differently than anyone else. Here's a simple 3-part structure that anybody can use. Start with the before. So what problems did you used to face in your field? Then the shift. What did you learn, solve, or build that changed everything? And now the value. What kind of results do you create today? Who do you help and how? Here's a very simple example of this. I started my career drowning in outdated processes, losing hours each week to manual reporting. That frustration led me to learn automations and build systems that saved my team 20+ hours a month. Today, I lead operations at a fast-growing fintech startup where I help scale systems that drive efficiency and impact. Okay, so you're starting to see just how easy it is to be passed over, not because you're underqualified, but because your value is hidden. So if you never want to feel invisible in your job search again, tap subscribe and I'll keep making videos that show you how to stand out for good. Once your profile becomes a magnet, you're going to notice something strange. You stop chasing opportunities and they start chasing you. And there's still one factor that quietly decides who gets the first call and who gets left on red. The best jobs often don't go to the most qualified candidate. They go to the most connected ones. According to HubSpot, 85% of jobs are filled through networking, not cold applications. And yet, most people spend their time in 90% of their job search applying to postings and less than 10% strategically nurturing those relationships. Why? Because networking feels awkward when there's no ask. So they wait until there is one, and by then, it's too late to be genuine. So if the only time that you're reaching out to people is when you're job hunting, it's already too late. Start a spreadsheet today with 15 to 20 people that you admire or you'd want to work with, and update it monthly. Every week, reach out to 3 of them, not to ask for a favor, but to offer something. You can share a relevant article, you can congratulate them on a recent win, or maybe comment with an insight on something that they posted. And if none of those work, you can reach out just to say hey and ask how they're doing. These are what we call micro deposits. Each one builds relationship equity without expecting anything in return. One of those people might DM you in 3 months and they say, hey, I just heard about a role that's perfect for you and I loved staying in touch. Do you want me to introduce you? That warm introduction will outperform 50 cold applications every single time. And it compounds. The more consistently you show up, the more top of mind that you stay. And when opportunity knocks, you're the first person that they think of. If you're tired of getting ghosted after applications and you're ready to actually land offers with companies that you admire, this is your moment. I've helped thousands of professionals turn their job search into a career launchpad, and it's all using a proven strategy that combines one-on-one coaching, expert positioning, and high leverage networking. So book your free consultation by tapping the link on the screen or below in the description, and we're gonna pinpoint where your value is being lost and map out a plan to get you back in control of your career. Because the difference between being overlooked and in demand is smaller than you think. and it starts right here.